Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, we simulated through year number 4, and it was our best season yet. So we are continuing on our upwards trajectory. As you can see, we finished 13, 65, and 4, and we got some pretty good production from some of our top guys. So I'm very impressed with how the team is kind of developing rapidly quick, because we're going into year 5 already, which is kind of insane. But you can see that Staubitz has 76 points, a nice amount of assists with 54 of them. So he's definitely still more of a passer than a goal scorer, but he's been great. Ristolainen in his third season had 69 points. We had Kolarz in his rookie season pick up 62 points. He could have probably won the Calder if we weren't on a Draft to Glory team, just because our plus minus wasn't that great still. But obviously a lot of these guys started to produce. Tuzolino on a full season had 45 points. We even got like good seasons from, I'd say, like Bogosian and Orena, Capaduca. So the team is definitely starting to develop in the right way. And also we did pick up a lot of shutouts this season. As you can see, Shipley had 3, and Tamerlan actually had 1 as well. So we had like a combined 4 shutouts this season, despite having a very weak team still technically on paper. So very impressed with what this team's been able to do up to this point. Hopefully we continue to win games as these seasons go on. Like hopefully next season we could strive for 15 to 20 wins. And then obviously the seasons after that, hopefully we can get closer to 25 to 30 wins. But we're starting to build up the core of this team, and I am very excited for the future. And I wonder when it's going to be before we actually start making it into the postseason and all that. But anyways, before we get into the year 4 offseason, including the draft, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll see what we end up snagging up for our prospect pool and for our NHL roster, even for that matter, next season. So the first comment is from Teddy Hood, who says, "Nice video, much better with injuries off. Perhaps turn off waiver notifications as it won't be part of the series. Keep up the good work." And thanks, Teddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess I could technically turn waiver notifications off. I never thought about that when I set up the series, but I guess we technically can. It's kind of fun to see sometimes who's on waivers, but at the same time, it's just another thing that slows down the game a bit. So this might make the game speed go a little bit quicker if we turn that off, which it should be right here. Perfect. So I don't think we'll get any more notifications really that much at all, unless there's any injuries, I guess, once we turn injuries back on in a few years, because I think once we actually have a full roster in the NHL and AHL, we'll probably go back to having injuries on. But right now we're still in the development stage of this team, so it's probably best to have them off still for at least a few more years. The next comment is from Michael Dose, who said, "All season, could you rank your Draft to Glory franchises in order of your personal favorite? I think right now I'd have to go number 1 with Anchorage, but this Albuquerque team has been fun so far. Also, please remember to assign scouts." And yeah, I'll remember to do that. In terms of ranking my Draft to Glory franchise modes, yeah, that's a really tough one. I think I would agree with you in having Anchorage probably at number 1, just because that team was so dominant. I really did like my Halifax series I did last year. I think that one would probably make it into like number 2. And then I'd probably obviously still have Houston above this series currently, just because the series hasn't, obviously we haven't won a cup yet. So once we start to win cups, maybe the series will start to jump up in order, but I'll probably put this one still dead last for now. But I think I'd probably still put my Houston Sharpshooters, my original series, above the series for now, just because of the fact we had a lot of fun players in that series, and obviously we didn't win a Stanley Cup in that series. So it's probably gonna be beat easily by this Albuquerque series, my guess. But obviously, I'd say probably right now I'd just go Anchorage, Halifax, Houston, and then this. But at some stage, this will probably jump into 3rd or even 2nd place. I don't think it's ever going to pass Anchorage, but I'm not too sure, because Anchorage was one of the most fun series I've had in a while. Michael also says, "I really like Del Monte as the first round pick, as a power forward isn't needed." So he wants us to go with Del Monte in the draft class, which, I mean, he's definitely one of the options we could potentially go for. There's a lot of different guys. As you can see, Cade Del Monte, left wing playmaker. He could be pretty much identical to what Kolarz is. So there is a chance if he has better faceoffs than Kolarz, maybe I make him into a center. If Kolarz has the better faceoffs, maybe I make him into a center. But one of these guys probably will get moved to center, so that way we have a second line forward or second line center behind Ristolainen that could set up other players on that line, like Capaduca, for instance. So there is a chance that Del Monte might try and get moved to center if he really wants to try and adapt that position, but it depends, I guess, on his face-off rating and all that type of thing. The next comment is from Samurai Otaku, who says, you're much further along at this point than any of your previous draft glory teams. You don't need another power forward, so I'd go for Patches if available, or Del Monte with your first pick. With Del Monte, moving Kolarz to second line center wouldn't be a bad play. If you sign scouts next season, don't forget to assign them. And that's basically exactly what I was saying about Kolarz and Del Monte. If we draft Del Monte could easily play on the top line with guys like Staubitz and all that stuff, less like Kolarz did this season. However, if he's better on faceoffs, maybe we'll move him to a center spot or move Kolarz over to a center spot. So I guess it just really depends on those individual attributes, and then we could decide if we do decide to go with Del Monte. But obviously, he's saying also, we could also go with Pacioretty if he is still available. Which, as of right now, Pacioretty, I have no idea what type of player he is. It looks like he's going to be a two-way forward, but there's no guarantees on that. It is a similar style to Joe Thornton, which makes me think he's also a playmaker, but I'm not really too sure on that. So, if he's a playmaker as well, he could literally be just as good as Del Monte in this draft class. So, definitely we'll see what ends up happening in terms of how the draft plays out, but I definitely think it's probably going to end up being him or Del Monte that we end up taking, because Prost, who I did pin, he is a power forward. We already have a ton of power forwards, so I'm not too sure if I really want to lean towards bringing in another power forward when we already have like 2 of them in the top 6. I think having 3 of them might be a little bit overkill, so that's why I'm leaning more towards a playmaker. Regardless, we're going to get somebody decent for this team, which is really nice. The next 2 comments are from Dusty Wall. The first one says, Perron only had 4 goals, 3 of which were game winners. Crazy. And yeah, Perron was interesting this season. I didn't expect him to have that many game-winning goals for the amount of goals that he did score for our team. Because obviously he doesn't get a lot of ice time on his team. Like, he's more of a bottom 6 forward. But he's up to a 71 at 22. So he's actually developing kind of nicely. But yeah, 4 goals only this season and 3 game winners. So definitely a very clutch player. And who knows, maybe if he's still on this roster when we make it to the playoffs, maybe he'll be that type of guy in the postseason. Dusty also says Quinn Hughes had 110 points with only 7 on the power play. So I didn't even realize that when Quinn Hughes won the Norris, that only 7 of his points were on the power play out of the 110, which means he had 103 points at regulation, which is pretty insane for a defenseman, even just a forward for that matter too. So pretty insane from Quinn Hughes. And the last and final comment is from Nick Baca-Barons OC, who says, got to go with Prost in my opinion, so he thinks that we should be going for the power forward again. And like I was just mentioning, I don't think we need another power forward because we already have Staubitz, who technically I guess could get changed from a power forward, but Ristolainen is also a power forward too, so I just feel like we already have enough power forwards at the moment, so it's better to find those kind of setup guys that we could use. So somebody like Kolarz would be perfect again, so that's probably why we're leaning towards Del Monte or Pacioretty. But yeah, you can see this team is definitely developing in the right way. Like, Norena's already up to a 77 as a low 4, so maybe some of these guys will outgrow their potentials, which is really nice to see too. So very excited to see what our roster is looking like in terms of next season. Soon enough, we're going to probably have to make a decision on bringing in a new head coach, but not for now. Also, I'll do the off-season focus stuff probably after the draft, and I'll cut that out of the episode again just because I know you guys don't want to sit around for an extra, 10 minutes. Well, I just gave basically everybody the exact same type of off-season stuff to work on. But anyways, let's get into this 2028 draft and see what we snag up. Hopefully, we could have some good picks outside of the first round, because usually the first round's a lock in terms of getting a good pick, but once you get outside of the first round, if you do not get good picks, that's where draft glories become a little bit tough. You need to find those kind of late round steals to make up good teams. All right, let me move my face down here, and yeah, let's take a look at what LA takes at 1, Detroit takes at 2, and then we'll probably go Del Monte because Pacioretty likely goes to Detroit, but there's no guarantees on that, so let's see what ends up happening. Anyways, LA actually has Quinton Byfield on the block, which is kind of surprising at this point, but anyways, the LA Kings at number 1 are going to take Ustorf, who's that center playmaker. 82 overall, pretty solid starting overall. He does have X factors as well. This is what he looks like. Let me actually move my face back up here again so you guys can see more of his attributes. So if we would have had the first overall pick this year, this is probably what we would have went after. He would have been a perfect fit for that second line, but unfortunately, we will not be able to get him. And yeah, he has some pretty solid X factors as well. Okay, so there's the first overall pick. Detroit, are they going to take Pacioretty? Yes, they do. So Pacioretty was a two-way forward, so it's not really anything that I would say we need too much, but maybe eventually at some point we would need somebody like him. But he has no X factors. He's a two-way forward, and he's pretty damn balanced. Looks like he could be a center too, so that would have been maybe nice for a second line center for us of the future, but at the same time, I prefer probably a playmaker on the second line down the middle, and then obviously a two-way forward would be okay for more of like a bottom six type of center role. But yeah, this guy should be pretty good still in terms of offensive production. All right, so now with our pick here in the draft, obviously, like I said, like there's obviously, like Prus is going to be probably one of the best overall players in this draft, but we're drafting kind of more for what we actually need, and I don't think we need power forwards. As good as Ethan Prust is, you look through all these other ratings, technically based on this, actually, Cade Del Monte might actually have a higher overall than Prust does. So Del Monte might be going to actually where he's projected to go. Yeah, I think we're going to obviously take Del Monte here. No questions asked. It's kind of insane that he's actually supposed to be better. Like, the shooting department obviously is actually the same for a power forward and a playmaker. That's kind of nuts. Puck skills are the same. Senses are in Del Monte's favor. Skating's in Del Monte's favor. Physical's obviously in the power forwards plateau thing. And, yep, Del Monte is better in defense too. So the only thing that he doesn't work good at is his physical. So that's okay. So we're going to take Cade Del Monte, and like I said, if his face-off numbers are better than Kolar's, I almost said Stolar's again. If it's better than Kolar's, then maybe he'll become our second-line center, and then Kolar's will stay on the top line. It just really depends on those attributes. So welcome aboard to Cade Del Monte. And he's a 78. That's pretty solid. That's pretty damn solid. Let's take a look at those attributes. No X factors, but I think he definitely could develop some. His faceoffs are better, technically, than Kolar's at the moment, at least. It's a 77. So we could make him our second-line center instead. I got to talk to, like, one of them. I'd assume I'd look at their attributes individually and kind of make a decision, I guess, this offseason if we want to try and get one of them to change positions. I think we definitely want to get at least one of them to change positions, but I'm not too sure on which one. I think I'm leaning towards Del Monte just because the faceoffs are a little bit better. But obviously, if Kolar's gets growth, maybe he'll be even better at the faceoff dot. So there is Del Monte. Let's take a look at the rest of this top 5 of the draft. So Anaheim will take Prusty. Prust was a little bit worse, 77 overall as a power forward. He is obviously going to be probably developing into a pretty good player, but I think we got ourselves the player that we wanted. So there's Prust, and Chicago at 5 is going to take Gustafsson, who's the DFD. So that was somebody that would have been interesting just because we need to build up our defense still a little bit, but I've been really happy with the way the defensive core has been progressing. So I don't even know if I wanted to immediately DFD at any stage, but that's the top 5 of this year's draft. Let's assimilate to our next pick and see if there's any steals after our selection just for fun. And then obviously, hopefully we could get some steals in the second round. So Kennens was high top 6. Burnett was medium 4. Was there any like low elites in the first round or something like that? Medium elite and type loose. Oh yeah, we did see that he was guaranteed to be medium elite. He went 14th overall to the Canucks. That's a really good steal there. 63 playmaker. No X factors, but still. Nice little pickup there for the Canucks. Any other elite steals? Obviously, there's a lot of top 6 forwards and top 4 Ds. Ew, a high top 6 D offensive defenseman. That's kind of a weird pick for the first round. So I wonder how this guy's going to develop for the Boston Bruins. Maybe becomes a decent player. Hard to say. Some medium 9s and medium 6s going in the late first round, which means this might not be a super strong draft class going forward. There's a nice low elite steal for the Edmonton Oilers, of course. Just missing out on Caden Slater. I think that was one of the guys I was looking at potentially as a second round pick. I think, if I remember right. I remember seeing his name at least. Damn. All right, let's take our next selection here. Do we have anybody pinned around the stage? Doesn't look like it. Do we have anybody pinned soon? No. They're all supposed to go later. Actually, there is Camilleri technically who's supposed to go maybe this round, but I'm not going to take him. We did pin a bunch of people, but let's go back to scouting rank. So these guys are medium top 9s guaranteed. Caden Chimera, Nathaniel McKee, Andrei Zhikov. Looks like maybe a top 6 forward for Zhikov. So Zhikov is probably the most intriguing so far. Hey, a top 6 sniper, though. That's actually kind of interesting. Stefan Steen. Yeah, it might become the Stefan Steen. Or, yeah, it's probably Stefan Steen. I don't even know. Vili Pakashlotti. Looks pretty similar. Maybe 2 years out. We'll pin a couple people, and then we'll see them a little bit. Let's see. I want to find a low elite, but I don't know if there's going to be any good ones here. It's tough to tell when our scouts didn't do the best job on paper yet. They're obviously still developing a bit. Medium 9s. Maybe a low elite here in Crane. Tough to tell. Brophy. Yeah, I think we got to choose between one of those 3 guys that I just pinned. Because obviously the medium top 9s are going to be okay, but they're not going to be insane. Zikov looks like this, so 2 B minuses. Looks technically like Steen is a little bit better in terms of the skating. So, oh man, it's already into the final 30 seconds. Jesus, didn't realize that. Yeah, I think we're going to lean towards taking Stefan Steen here. Yeah, let's take Stefan Steen. He's the guaranteed top 6 forward anyways, so let's just take him. So Stefan Steen, 67 overall. It's pretty good. Does give us a little bit more depth like I was mentioning, so that's good. That we get in ourselves another center. His faceoffs are okay. They're not the best in the world, 70, but he should be still useful on the faceoff dot. But he is a sniper, so maybe we want to try and change him over to a right winger or something at some stage. But for right now, I think obviously playing center could be okay for him. So that's a nice little pickup in the early second round. I'd say definitely that's a hit, unless there's like a low elite that's like higher overall. But I think that was good. Let's just see these first few picks of the second round. So there goes Chimera, 61, medium 9. Chicago also takes McKee, who's basically the same thing. Zikov was a 67 top 6 as well. I was looking at Zikov, but I wasn't too sure. He's technically exactly more what I was looking for in a sense, a right wing sniper. Because center snipers are a little bit weird, but Zikov is just as good. I thought he was going to be a little bit worse. That's why I didn't take him. And then St. Louis takes Pakerslotty, who is a little bit worse, but still a 66. So I think we couldn't have made a wrong decision with that pick anyways. Let's simulate to our next pick at 67. See if we could find anything in these later rounds, because this is like where we need to find steals. Camilleri is supposed to go right around this stage, and he might be a lowly power forward, so I think we might have to take a chance on him just because of that. There is goaltenders supposed to go soon too that are listed as gems, but I honestly don't know if they're worth it. It could be a medium elite goalie, might not be. There is also that medium elite DFD that I want to take. Probably, what round is he supposed to go in? He might go late this round, so I might not be able to get him, but guaranteed lowly playmaker in Bure. We definitely got to take him later on as well. So, yeah, I think we're going to take a chance with Camilleri here, since he's projected to go around the spot. Doesn't look the best on paper right now, but if he's a lowly power forward, we could develop him definitely in the right ways. So, Bill Camilleri, welcome aboard. Low 6. It's not great, but I mean, he could still outgrow his potential. It gives us more depth. I'll take it. His shooting looks good. So I think he'll be good probably at the AHL level. Obviously, he could play in the NHL right away if we want to as well, since he's got a good starting overall. But it kind of sucks when you only draft a low 6 instead of a low elite. Anyways, sim to our next pick at 100. I don't think we're going to be able to get that defenseman I was looking at. Hopefully he's not a medium elite, because or else that would look like a really bad selection there. Let's just see here through all these names. I think he's supposed to go late this round or early next round. Let's see, is he off the board? Some medium starters, which is decent. Yep, he was a medium elite DFD. Now the question is, will he actually pan out? I honestly have no idea. We should have probably went with him, but I didn't know for sure that he was medium elite. Damn. Yeah, he's going to be interesting to see if he actually develops. Like a 51 is not the best overall, but obviously he could develop nicely. So I'm okay with our current defenseman that we have, but that would have been a nice one to add to the defensive prospect pool. We do have Shattenkirk pinned, who's a gem here, but he's probably, yeah, he's looking like a high fringe starter or just a medium fringe starter. I don't know if that's really anything we need at this stage. In terms of other pin players, Bure is not supposed to go till like few rounds from now. Semenov, who we pinned, is probably supposed to go right around this stage, who could be an elite goalie. So I'm going to take a chance with Andrei Semenov here that he's a medium elite. So even if he's just a medium starter, that'd be okay too. But let's see, Semenov. Medium starter, I'll take it. I mean, it gives us more goalie depth. We have a lot of goalie prospects, but we want to find one that works for our team, obviously. Who knows, maybe Semenov is going to be a good one. But I'll take that. That's a decent steal. It's not the best steal in the world, but I'll take it. Obviously, now we do have a chance to grab ourselves that low elite, though. We could get him even next round for that matter, so I could try and take somebody else. Yeah, I'm going to probably take somebody else and take Bure next round. just because we could take him as late as possible. In terms of other players, this is not really a good draft class still, I would say, in terms of depth, to be honest. Is Boland lowly? No guarantees, but I might take a chance on him just because he looks like he could be. Jenks. Alright, Terrell Jenks is kind of interesting. It's only 1 bar scouted through all those things, but no weakness, 19 years old. He is a little bit older, but still. We're going to take a chance on Terrell Jenks. Just those attributes scream interesting to me. 60 overall is decent, but a 7th defenseman. So, he has like no potential, but he's got a good overall. So, who knows, he'll be maybe more of an AHLer as well, but gives us more depth on defense. Now we could take that lowly that I've been looking at for a while in, not Berryfinger. That's a funny name. We'll take Ilya Bure here. Lowly playmaker, and he's listed as a gem. I hope this guy develops into being really good for us, because this could be the type of player that helps us win championships. So, Ilya Bure, welcome aboard. 55 overall is pretty solid. Is 19 years old already, so that kind of sucks. But I think obviously he could generate a lot of growth, and he could be like a 70-something within a few years. So I do like that. He might play on our NHL team next season. There's a chance. Maybe in our AHL team. I'm not too sure exactly, but I like that pick a lot. That's the type of steal we need. And in our final pick of the draft at 199, can we get any steals here with our last pick? Bottom 6 power forward in Ludeman. Is there anybody else, though, that could be an elite player? Let's see. Gaspard Guite. Not really. Don't want to go with another goalie. Mohamed Avery. Gaspard Dupuis. No. Tuomo Makala. Jimmy Perreault. 19 years old. I don't really want to take a 19-year-old at this stage, so I might just go for the youngest guy that could be an elite player here, which is looking like either Mohamed Avery or Gaspard Guite. Gaspard Guite. Did both those Gaspards play on the same team? They do. That's funny. They both play in the Quebec Ramparts. The Gaspards. What do I want to go with here? A defenseman or a forward? Probably a forward, just because the defensemen at this stage probably are not that good. Is there any guaranteed guys in terms of potential other than bottom 6s? There's a low 4 DFD. I mean, that's not bad, but he's already 19. Jonathan Gibson. So it's like John Gibson, basically. Interesting. Yeah, there's not really much for potential. There's a low top 6D and Homer. No, that would not be a great pick. Aiden LaRose. Yeah, I guess we'll just take a chance on somebody. So let's just take a chance on Gaspard Guite, just for the name. Medium bottom 6. Yeah, we knew we weren't going to get a steal there, really, but oh well. Looks like he's got okay shooting, so who knows on some of these guys if they develop or not, because with giving them goals and stuff like that, maybe they achieve stuff like that, and maybe that helps them grow decently. So there's our draft. Del Monte, I say, is obviously a great pick. Steen's a great pick. Camilleri's kind of interesting as a low 6. Semenov as a starting goalie is okay. And Bure obviously is a fantastic steal. So I don't really know how this draft class is going to pan out for us in the long run, but hopefully it's a good one for the future. Alright, so now that that is good, I should be able to do my off-season focus stuff, which is good. I do need to do more of them after the re-sign stage, though, probably, too. So I might actually wait till the start of free agency part to do that. Just so that way we have everybody under contract that we want to do for those off-season stuff. So, yeah, let's advance a day and get this stuff set up. So we got to bring back some scouts. And I got to make sure all my scouts are actually assigned in the right areas, which I'm pretty sure they are because we did that in the last episode a little bit, right? I'm pretty sure. Hopefully our scouting pool starts to develop nicely. There could be some better scouts out there potentially too, but not too sure on that. Okay. This is where it's going to be interesting. The re-sign stage, because we got to start paying some players some more money. So, in terms of UFA, I don't really care about those guys just yet. But we got the RFAs. Ristolainen, what are you asking for? What are you asking for? He wants an 8-year deal. Well, that's nice. That's nice. I do like 8-year deals. He wants $9.65 million, which to me isn't really that bad. He does want 3 years of a no-movement clause as well, which, I mean, I don't mind. Yeah. I don't know if the 85% trick works still. I don't think it does. Let me just talk him down until he's done this first bar here on the contract, because I think he'll be willing to come back regardless. So this looks like maybe the lowest point I could get him to. Like, I don't know if I could get him down to 2 bars lower than this. 9.125 for a top line center that's also got a full no movement clause for 3 years. I think that's a good deal. It also helps us with our cap situation going forward. So let's offer that to Ristolainen, and he'll get back to us tonight about that. Norena, what is he looking for? Ooh, he's looking for over $1 million. He only wants a 2-year deal. Does he want any? Oh, he does not like the 8-year term. So he only wants 2 years for now, which is okay to me because he'll be still an RFA at that stage. So let's talk him down a little bit so that way, let's get him to right around there. I don't want to give him too little, so let's just give him that. Bogosian, probably a 2-way deal. Yeah, okay, so some of these guys are still asking for 2-ways, which is great, and some of them will auto-accept too, which is good, so I don't need to worry about guys like Trevelyan and all that. It's just these two that are actually going to want 1-way deals. Everybody else is going to get a 2-way deal for the time being. And we're going to have to probably let go of some more of those filler players, which is good, because we're starting to actually have a full-on forward group in the AHL probably too. Actually, I'm not a forward group, a full-on defensive group in the minors. So for the time being, I'm going to leave those guys. We do need to bring sure we bring back all of our prospects, though, like Joaquin David, who's not getting much of an opportunity anymore. Same with Pavelski, but those guys eventually will be winged out of our lineup. So those are just filler players right now, and then Ristolainen and Moreno we're waiting on. Del Coley could be in the NHL next year. Is he wanting a 1-way? No, he's not. That's good. I'll easily sign you up for a 2-way deal. Still $78 million in cap space. We're obviously going to sign Del Monte to his ELC. So welcome aboard to Cade Del Monte. Steen will also sign. He could probably play in the NHL or AHL this season, so we'll do that. Camilleri can't play in the AHL yet, but I might honestly give him a chance at the NHL because he's got okay shooting. So let's give him a contract as well. So welcome aboard to Camilleri. Jenks. Do I want to give Jenks a contract already? He's at 19 already. He's not really that great. I'm going to keep him unsigned. Burr, I'm going to give his ELC as a low late just because I think we need to get him into our top 6 fast and see if it helps him out growing because he is 19. Gardner is still unsigned. I think I might still wait a bit on him because he's not really going to be ready for the NHL yet with these ratings. So let's keep him for now. And then Gaspard Guité could stay unsigned as well, I think, for now. Ollie, should I sign Ollie yet? 62. We already have a lot of goalies, though. Because we have Shipley, Del Coley in the NHL, likely Tamerlan and Thorne in the AHL. We're getting to that point soon where we might have to let go of Tamerlan. Just because we have other goalie prospects coming up. So that's not ideal. Also, Thorne could be let go of at some point too. But yeah, we might have to make some tough decisions in the RFA department in the next few years, which kind of sucks. In terms of the UFAs, these guys are just going to be cap whales, so I can wait on them for now. But I do want to see if Ristolainen and Norena will accept those contracts, which likely they will. Ristolainen accepts the 8-year extension, so welcome aboard to Kari again. And Kai will also accept that contract. So we're up to $69 million in cap space. We will probably just give all of these guys 2-way deals. Should I let go of some of them? Probably. We need more forwards in the AHL than anything. So we probably should hold on to most of these guys. Let's just give them a 2-year deal. Some of them that they're asking for. Some of them I'll try to get 1-year deal for, but let's just make sure our AHL team has at least a roster still on paper. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season ahead. I think we're starting to finally have like a team that's actually going to probably win a good chunk. Not like a crazy chunk, obviously, but I think we're trending in the right direction with this forward group especially. And then the defensive core is still probably a work in progress, but obviously I want to see if some of those low fours and stuff like that could outgrow their potential like a lot. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for at the moment, is those guys kind of surprise us. But we are going to have to start looking for some elite defensemen, because obviously having just the one elite offensive defenseman is probably not going to be enough to win a championship. So, all right, so all those guys are signed. UFAs, these are our cap whales, so let's just give them some money. So actually, he wants a one-way deal still too. Don't worry, man. I'm not going to give you only $1 million. We're going to give you like $20 million here. There you go. And we'll do the same for 2 more people, I guess. So we'll do this. Sure, take the $20 million. And I think that's it. Yep, just this last guy. And then we'll have our team back. I am really excited, though, for the upcoming season. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good. Because last season was a big, major surprise, too. So, there we go. $12 million exactly in cap space. Perfect, and everybody is signed. So, that's all good and ready to go. I think now comes the stage where I'm going to do some off-season goals because I should be able to give some to Del Monte. Yes, I can. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do some of the off-season focus stuff, and I'll see you guys up here in a second. Okay, guys, so all the off-season stuff is done except for 2 things. Like I said, we need to decide who's going to be our second-line center for next season between Kolarz and Del Monte. So we're going to go over and look at their attributes and kind of decide who we want to try and persuade to be a center. If one of them doesn't want to become a center, maybe we'll have to be forced to make the other one the center. But I am curious on their attributes here. So Kolarz hasn't improved in faceoffs yet. He's got 3.5-star defense, 76 on faceoffs. And then Del Monte, who we just drafted, is 3 stars defensively. Better faceoffs already. His shot blocking's a bit worse, and yeah, he's a bit worse of a defensive player, but trying to think. Who's got the better passing? Kolarz has 89. Del Monte's already at 84, which is not really that bad. Obviously, at some stage, Kolarz might only have 89 passing because of his rookie season, so I think we'll probably ask Del Monte to be the second-line center just because he's basically already got the better face-off stats. So let's go ahead and try and see if this will work because we've never tried to do this yet in the series, so this will be interesting. If Del Monte says, hey, no, or maybe he's actually going to try it in the start of next season regardless. I don't remember exactly how it works, but let's go to this because this is at least a little bit more interesting. So adaptability. Let's go to that. I think this is where we can see if you can play center. Wait, actually, we want you to be focused on being more coachable. Oh, never mind. That's not for even the positions. I thought that was for the position stuff, but that might be at the start of the season we have to do that. So I guess I completely forgot about that. Unless it's in a different area. Oh, wait. No, that's still the same thing. What if I go offensive? Is there a thing that says, like, changing positions? No, it doesn't yet. I think it's at the start of the season. Oops, I thought that was now, but we are going to still have to decide on the second line center. I think Del Monte will make better sense just because of his face-off numbers, but I guess we'll come to it when we get to the start of the season. So that's all good and ready to go. I think if we sim to free agency now, we should be pretty good. We just got to make sure that we have our scouts in the right areas, obviously, for next season already. We should be pretty much good in terms of that. And I think, yeah, we're definitely good in the cap space because we signed a lot of our cap whales. So we should be ready to continue to simulate. I got to make sure. I think I did all the conversations, right? Yeah, I definitely did. Some of the AHL ones, I already did all the AHL ones too. So pretty much as you would expect, I gave most of the people like offensive awareness ones. I did do for Tulipov, who's the center that you guys said, oh, should be maybe a left winger. I told him to try and improve his face-off stats in the offseason. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually be a better face-off man for next season. So we are good on that front. We don't need to change our coaching staff yet. Our coaching staff should be fine, I think, for now. But obviously next offseason, wait, when does this guy end 2 years from now? Maybe when this guy's contract ends, we'll try and change up our coach. And we got 20 out of 20 scouts. I don't really know if I want to change scouts too much. We already have a lot of them. But is there any better scouts out there out of curiosity? Like more A-rated ones? No. Yeah, it's not really much of an improvement. So we might as well just keep the same scouts for now. Until they start to drop off or something like that. So let's begin the sim up to next season, I think. Because I don't think there was anything else we need to do this offseason, if I'm not mistaken. Just trying to think. Yeah, I don't think there is. Okay, let's begin the sim up to next season. And see what our lineup is looking like. I'm very excited to see what it looks like. Hopefully a lot of guys got some good offseason growth. And hopefully we're looking pretty good going into next season. We'll probably, like I said, try and persuade... or not necessarily persuade, but we'll try and talk to one of those left wingers about being our second line center, so that way we could adjust our lineup accordingly to that. I think we could do it at the start of the season. Usually their position doesn't change over until a few months into the season, if I'm not mistaken, if they are feeling comfortable in a center spot. So we might not have a full-on confirmation until in the middle of next episode or something like that. But Kolar's has jumped to an 87, so that's probably why I want to keep him as our second-line center. But obviously you can see we're a little bit weak. Like using Tulipov as a third-line center right now or Bogosian as a third-line center right now isn't a bad idea. So that's why maybe talking to Del Monte would be okay. But first and foremost, let me just make sure we have the right guys in the NHL. So Del Coley and Shipley, which means, yeah, it's going to be Tamlin and Thorne. Tamlin's technically our worst overall goalie. At some point, the tower might have to leave, unfortunately, but he has done a good job here for the most part. Defensively, Tuzolino, Norena, Trevelyan, Bates, Parks, and Pavelski. We have 2 right-handers and 4 left-handers. Is there another right-hander I'd call up? Probably Whitfield already, to be honest. I know he was really good last year in the AHL. He is an offensive defenseman as well, though, which would give us 3 offensive defensemen, which is a bit too much. David, I think, is also offensive. Yeah, he is. What about Rohan Trainer? 2-way. So I could call up Rohan Trainer and send down Pavelski again, potentially. We'll keep the defensive core to the best it can be like this for now. I'm excited for Norena, though. Norena's definitely developing really, really good. Like, his passing's already up to a 94. His offensive awareness is at an 84. Once we get that offensive awareness above a 90, I think this guy's going to be very good and very underrated. In terms of our forward group, anybody to call up? Zetterberg could probably stay in the AHL a little bit longer. Yeah, for sure he can. I don't really need Justin Dezote up here, to be honest. We'll just send Dezote down because he's just like a depth piece. Left wingers, anybody to come up? Bure is probably going to start in the AHL, I think, as a low lead. I think that makes a bit of sense. We could put him into the NHL right away, but I don't know if it's necessary. You guys could let me know if he should be up here already, because he is 19 years old. So we need to put him in the best spot possible. Camilleri will also be down there. And then centers, we're going to send down Wiggle because he's not ours. We'll call up Steen, and that should be good. Yeah, that should be good. So if we go best lines here, technically we do have already a lot of centers without even Del Monte being a center, which is interesting. Tulipov, definitely, he's still not the best on face-offs. So if I was to put like Del Monte down the middle, put Bogosian as a third-line center. We don't need this Rebello guy in because he's not even ours. Steen here. Steen good at face-offs, not the best. I could try and use Steen as a right winger, but then we'd have to move somebody else to center here. Probably want Malkin higher. Timmins is a bottom 6. Same with Perron. Actually, Perron's low 6, so Perron could probably be up here. Capaduca should probably be here. Tulipov is a center. We do have a lot more centers than we need to if we move Del Monte to center. Maybe we do not put him at center for now. Maybe we don't. Capaduca could play on the right side with Del Monte and Tulipov. Or actually Bogosian? Yeah, maybe Bogosian. Alright, we might actually be okay still for our lineup. Like, we might not need to ask them if they want to change position just yet. That might be okay. I do want Malkin kind of higher up in the lineup than Perron, but he's not much better. I could move always Trevor Noonan up too. Yeah, we'll move Noonan up, I guess, for now. Actually, no, the chemistry looks good like that, so we'll keep it the same like this. I don't know about having Stefan Steen as a fourth-line center, though. Like, we could try and change him over to a right winger instead. I don't know. We might have to make some decisions in next episode rather than this episode. In terms of our defensive core, we're going to split up, obviously, Noreno and Tuzolino, because they shouldn't be together. And then this pairing's a minus at the moment, probably because they're both left-handers. That's why I would need to maybe call up a right-handed defenseman. I mean, I could call up Whitfield, even though he's an offensive defenseman. And then we will send down Pavelski. Because Pavelski, I don't know if he's the one that's not fitting well in that top 6 pairing or not. But I just want to try and minimize the amount of minuses this roster has for the time being. Obviously, a new coach would help this, but we want to make sure we can promote from within first. I don't know if that's actually a -2, is it? Now, let's go best lines in the AHL for the time being. Jesus, this thing's slow sometimes. Let's see. Defense. Is that actually a -2 or was it just glitching out? Yeah, it was just glitching out. Okay, so that looks better with Whitfield in the lineup. So that's all good. Goalies are good. Power play, let me take a look at who's on that unit. Ristolainen, Kolarson, Stowitz, Tuzolino, and Arena. That's a lot of offense, but I'll take it. Bogosian, Perron, Del Monte. So Del Monte would be on the second unit. That's not too bad. We could try and split it up so the offensive defensemen are not on the same unit, but Arena definitely deserves more ice time. Yeah, it's not the best chemistry. Maybe we want to look for a new coach already for this season, or maybe we just keep it like this. I honestly don't know. And then, like I was saying, I don't know if we should try and get a player to change positions yet or not. Because, let's see, 77 at faceoffs for Bogosian. He's definitely a competent centerman. Tulipov, not the best. He's a 70, and Steen is also a 70. So, I'd probably prefer to keep Tulipov as the center since he's a two-way forward. Steen, since he's a sniper, maybe we try and get him to change to a right side. And by doing that, we could drop Tulipov to the fourth line, Bogosian to the third line. Del Monte, we could try and change him over to a second line center. That might not be a bad play. And then we can move Capaduca to the left side. That might not be the play. Or it might be the play, I mean. AHL, let's just make sure we got our right prospects in the right spots here. So Bure was scratched originally. I'm just going to put him onto the top line. Anybody else that needs to be in here that is scratched? Those aren't ours, so don't care too much. And we also have Zetterberg that needs to be in. So Zetterberg and Bure are going to get the play together, which is awesome. One's a playmaker, one's a sniper, so hopefully that works out. Defensively, these are all our prospects except for Bernie, who's a forward at the moment. So the AHL doesn't have a lot of defensemen. Huh. Can I get rid of any of these minuses or no? Regardless of where Bernie is, it's a -5, it seems like. That is, yeah, that's pretty rough, that defense. We might need a new coach down there in the minors as well, just to help with the chemistry on defense especially. But our team's looking exciting, I think, for the season. Like, we have a legit top line for the most part. Like, 2 guys are second line forwards still, but that's okay. Second line is starting to come together. I like the way that Bogosian's been developing. Like, he's up to a medium 6 potential. I don't know if he ever was medium 6. I feel like he was low 6 at one point. But I think it's developing, and the defensive core is looking okay too. I don't mind it. I do not mind it. Alright, so there is that. Like I said, I don't know if we want to persuade those players into changing positions yet. I will leave that up to you guys, I think. Who should we change in position to make our lineup look better? Because using Del Monte as a second line center could work if he wants to try to center spot. And then trying to persuade Stefan Steen to change over to a right winger rather than a center since he's a sniper might be a good play because that way he can score more goals off the wing. Down the middle, I feel like more is suited for playmakers in 2 ways. And power forwards even, for that matter. So that might be something we lean towards doing. Alright, so all that's set up and ready to go. Final thing we got to do to look at in this episode is we got to look at, I think, our new players on the team. And we also got to look at maybe what this draft class is looking like already. Even though we don't technically know the potentials, I'm curious on what there is in this draft class. So, actually, we're in 2029. Is the game going to still crash, though, if I look at player faces? I don't know if I'm going to look at player faces. I don't want this game to crash. I'll have to wait and see if there's like a patch at some point that'll actually fix that problem, because I just do not feel safe going into that and potentially losing an entire episode. So, that kind of sucks. But we do want to take a look at what this draft class has in it in terms of player types. Ooh, okay, so there's a defenseman supposed to go first overall, which is kind of enticing because we do need defensive help, so I do like that. This is another thing that could also play factor into words if we want to change guys like Del Monte over to a center, though, because 3 of the top 5 players are centers. Gaspard Mercier, Matthias Regnerson, and Mohamed Meyer. And I mean, there's also another left winger, Clifford Cairns. But obviously, if we get the first overall pick, we're going with the defenseman, probably. There's also another defenseman in Drew Bell, too. Another left winger, Jyrki Eskalainen. Alright. Yeah, there seems to be a good mix. A lot of wingers, also some good defensemen supposed to go early. What about the earliest goaltender? Out of curiosity. Viggetti. He's supposed to go first round, so that guy could be an elite goaltender. But obviously, we aren't going to be having a pick around that spot. Spezza's supposed to go in the second round, same with Ald. So those would be good goalies probably too. There might be some good goalies in this upcoming draft class. Like, this probably could be one of the best draft classes we've gotten yet. So if we have a bad pick, that might be good. It might be good. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate through year number 5. We'll see what ends up happening with this team. I think we'll obviously do better than last year. But obviously, there's still some decisions that we have to make in terms of changing player positions and all that as we try and structure our team accordingly for the upcoming season. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.